Morning, guys. What's going on? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I want to talk about a guy by the name of Michael Baisden. Michael Baisden is a brother that I can't say I know very well, but I've known of him, and I've only met him once. I met him once in Las Vegas, and he was very gracious and very kind when we spoke. And I have respect for him. You know, he's a smart dude, very very good brother. At least based on what I saw, I don't know much else about him, but he put up a post on social media that I thought would be worth a conversation, something that I'd love to get you guys' opinion on. And so basically, I follow Michael, or we're Facebook friends, and he made a statement, and I want to ask you guys if you agree with this or not. He said that if I get the quote right, he said that marriage is. Wait, hold on. Wait, let me pull it up. Let me make sure I quote the brother correctly. I don't want to misquote him. He said, "Men marry who they want, women marry who they can. Men marry who they want, and women marry who they can." And I'd be curious to know what you guys think about that. Let me know in the chat. Do you agree with that statement or not? And let me just say this before I even look at whether or not you guys agree. I'll just tell you, a lot of people disagree. A lot, and I noticed a lot of women were disagreeing with the statement. I didn't see. I saw comments from men, but I saw a lot of women responding to that. And I'd be curious to know what the women on this platform think about that. Brother man says I'm cool with that. Okay. Hey, my name is Corey. What's going on? So as you come in, I'd like to get your response on that question, because here's what it made me think about. Right, that statement. Men marry who they want, women marry who they can. I can understand why people would have an issue with that statement. Obviously, because it almost resembles that old patriarchy, kind of ideology that offends a lot of people, especially women, right? A lot of women are offended by this idea that men can just sort of pick and choose, and also the insinuation that women are so desperate that they'll marry whoever they can. And I totally get that. And I understand that. But what I want to sort of do is kind of hit the nuances of that comment, because I really think when you talk about things like marriage, and not just relationships, but marriage and all that other stuff and family, it becomes kind of this interesting thing, where I kind of watch what's happening on the internet and what people are saying. And I wanted to give you some perspective on it. So Michael Baisden, that quote that you see on the screen, that's not my quote. That's Michael Baisden's quote. He said, "Men marry who they want, women marry who they can. Do you agree or disagree?" So it wasn't that he was saying this and that this was his opinion. It was that he was sharing, I guess, somebody else's quote and trying to get people's reaction. So let me see here. So North Philly says he's basically right, but not all the way. I know some women who can have their pick of men. Real rap. Yeah, yeah. I think that's an important nuance to lay out there, right? So I can see where a lot of people would be offended by that kind of statement. And I will only speak from my experience, and my wife's a relationship therapist, and she would probably disagree with me on some of this. To be honest with you, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but I thought it would be worth kind of talking about real quick. This idea. Okay, men marry who they want. Well, let me just say this. I can speak in my own experience. I can't speak to every guy's experience, but I can speak to my experience and what the experience of my friends looked like. From my perspective, getting married as a man always felt easier to do. Like if I wanted to get married at any point in my life, I could go back to the age of probably about 21, and really, really maybe even 20. And if I had wanted to get married, I could have got married. It would have been very easy. Like finding a wife, I could probably get married in 3 months if I wanted to. I don't know if any other guys can identify with that or not, but it's literally been that easy, because when I was coming up, and I think this might still be true to some extent, things like commitment, monogamy, being with one person for the rest of your life, those romantic concepts were things that women, women tend to identify with more. And I can also say, when I married Alicia, my beautiful wife that I love very much, the people that were most excited about the wedding were really usually women. Doesn't mean that the brothers weren't. the strong brothers who understand family and legacy and commitment and love black women, at a certain level, they were all down for it. Like they were like, "Congratulations, man, way to go! That's awesome." But it was mostly women that were really excited about the fact that I got on my knee for her, and all these other things, right? A lot of guys, some guys were like, "Man, that's awesome." Some guys were like, "Man, that's simping," blah 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 blah. Now, of course, I don't agree with that. I think that's kind of an immature perspective, to be honest with you, because I really think, guys, if you find that woman that you really value that much, you really should be okay with honoring her in public. I think it's that, to me, that's a sign of masculinity. When you aren't so protective, honestly, an insecure man is a guy who's always protecting his masculinity because he's almost afraid of being exposed. He almost feels like, man, if people find out that that deep down I actually have emotions and that I actually love this woman, that they gonna think I'm weak. They're gonna find out how weak I am, right? Well, I don't care. I know I'm not weak. I mean, I think my track record has kind of shown that. And that's a picture of me proposing to Alicia. And if you search the entire internet everywhere, you search up and down, search for the last 30 years, you will find no picture anywhere of me doing that with anybody else. I did propose to a woman back in 2006, but that we didn't get married. But that was an amazing woman. Like those were two amazing black women. And one of the things I encourage brothers to consider is, when a black woman is really showing and proving, when she's really on that next level, when she's really the shit, why not treat her like she's the shit? Why you gonna why you gonna take the women that are the queens and treat them like the hoes? Like every woman ain't a queen, we know that, but some women really do their absolute best for you and really come through for you in every single way. So why not return that honor by saying, you know what, you're a great woman. I respect and appreciate all that you've done for me, and I'm gonna let everybody know how much I appreciate you. Like there's nothing weak about that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like that's, to me, that's a logical way to kind of approach things. So with Michael Basin's comment, I can understand why people would be would disagree with it. That somebody says that's Kevin Samuels' comment. He's repeating what Kevin says. I think Kevin might be guilty sometimes of overgeneralizing a little bit. To say that men marry who they want, women marry who they can, that could be true in some cases. I think you can make the statement that women tend to value commitment and marriage and monogamy a little more than men do. I just believe that's just my experience from what I've seen. But to say that that there are no women who don't have their pick of the litter, that's not true. I know women who are batting men away with a stick, and a lot of times it's because they have something that men want. They're very attractive. That's why you get all these men on the internet that are complaining about black women. It's because they were chasing after some girl who had plenty of options. They were you in your Burger King uniform and you trying to chase the finest girl on the block. And you in your Burger King uniform, you weigh 300 pounds and ain't got nothing going on in your life. And she's got guys that are far better than you chasing her. Well, she's going to reject you, right? Because she's got options. So I think to generalize it and to say that statement is true, even 80-90% of the time, would be wrong. But to say that it's never true, or that you can't sort of make that statement with additional nuance, I think would be incorrect as well. Because here's the deal. With marriage, in my experience, again, I'm speaking from my experience, marriage is a lot of work. Marriage is a type of work that you only do when you're ready to do that work. Remember, in my 30s and my 40s, I was single. Up until I was 45, I didn't want to get married. I thought about getting married. I did propose when I was 35 years old. We chose not to do it. I was okay with walking away. I had plenty of options. I was meeting plenty of great women in different places, and being single was totally fine and totally fun. What made the difference in terms of my decision to get married was I asked myself one basic question. I encourage you guys to consider this question. The question was, if I make this move, is my life going to get better or is it going to get worse? That's literally, honestly, that's the question I ask myself in almost every decision I make. Is my life going to be better or worse if I make this decision? And so I think that, whether it's a male or female that's looking to get somebody to make a commitment to you, looking for somebody that's going to, put their assets on the line, put their reputation on the line, put their happiness on the line for you, commit themselves to you, submit themselves to whatever society's rules are about relationships. I think that question is important. And I think that this idea that somehow people are supposed to want to marry you just because marriage is the right thing to do, I think that's wrong. I think that's absolutely not going to get you what you want. I don't think I know I definitely wouldn't have married anyone. I didn't get married because I wanted to be married. I got married because I wanted to marry her. Right. I was willing to endure the challenges of marriage. And there are rewards for sure. Like marriage is like a tough job. It's a tough job with a good paycheck. Right. But just because the job offers a paycheck don't mean you want the job. Some people are okay being self-employed. And so being single, it does come with its limitations, right? You don't have some of the securities of marriage, but being single does come with certain freedoms that I can understand people enjoy. And again, in my experience, in my own life and in the lives of the men that I know, I don't tend to hang out with a lot of scrubs. The guys I hang out with are guys typically that, make a little bit of money, that have some education, that, take care of themselves, take care of the kids, stuff like that. And most of those guys don't have any shortage of opportunities to get married. So, and I rarely hear any of them say, man, I just wish I could find somebody and marry. I wish I could get married. They don't say that. They talk about marriage like, ooh, that's a lot of work. Are you ready for that? And if it's for the right woman, they're willing to do it. If that woman is quality and can make you say, gosh, yeah, it's going to be some work, but I'm worth it, then you make that move. Or some guys will, not all guys will. My thinking on marriage was, and so let me just reiterate what Michael Baisden said for those who just came in. He put up a statement that said, "Men marry who they want, women marry who they can." Do you agree? And a lot of women disagreed. A lot of women said no, and that's what I noticed. And I'm sure some men said the same thing. There were a lot of comments. And I can only speak again as one man with one experience. And I can say, generally speaking, obviously that's not true in the sense that, there aren't women that will marry literally every man that they can possibly, any man they can find. Right. But there are women I know who are really disappointed, perhaps, because they haven't found a man that they can marry. I talked to a friend not too long ago who's a high flying black woman who makes $250,000 a year, who's achieved a lot of goals, economically and professionally. But she was in a very expensive dating service, spending more money than I would ever spend. But she was spending a lot of money to find the right guy. And I don't think she would have invested that kind of money to find the right guy if she wasn't trying to find something lasting and something meaningful. I don't think she was looking for, some hit it and quit it, quick sex. I think she was looking for something that meant something. And so to say that women are just as happy being single as men are, I don't know if that would be true in most cases. In my experience, that has not been true. When I was single, I was happy as a lark, wasn't looking to get married, didn't care if I ever got married. I would have been fine, going the rest of my life without getting married. I don't know if all my female friends feel the same way. But again, there's always exceptions to every rule. Everybody has a right to their own experience. And the best thing I can say before I have to head out is this. Um, you know, the reason I married my wife was because I asked myself that basic question. Will your life be better if you marry this woman than it is with you not being married to this woman? A lot of factors come into play. What kind of person is she? Is she a person that's going to treat me well and show me respect and show me appreciation? Or is she somebody who's going to say, "Ooh, you should just be glad I was willing to marry you," right? If she has kids, are her kids going to be respectful? I love kids. I happen to really think kids are awesome. Some guys think kids are a burden. I see kids as an investment, just like I see stocks and bonds as an investment. I invest in young people because young people are the ones who come through for you when you get older, right? That old guy, I didn't want to be that old guy in the nursing home that nobody comes to visit, right? Because he never invested in anybody when he was young and energetic, right? So I said, while I'm young and energetic and I can help these kids, I'll invest in them. And maybe when I get old and raggedy, somebody will want to invest in coming to see me, right? You have to be at a certain stage. I'd have gotten to a stage where I said, I've had enough of the single life. It's been interesting. Now I'm ready to try something different. Also, here's another important point, ladies, especially, or anybody, male or female, who's trying to get somebody to want to marry them. I really valued her. Like I saw her as the kind of person I could not replace. If a woman is easily replaceable, like if I just think, oh, well, I know 20 women just like this one, I'm not gonna commit to that. Like, why would you overpay for a commodity that you can find in every corner store, right? There was something about Alicia where I said, if I don't lock this in and lock in the chance to be with this woman, I am not going to be able to find any woman anywhere that can replace what she brings to the table. And that was a huge factor. You know, I've had great women that I've known that where I said, you know, if we broke up, it's okay. There's more fish in the sea. But sometimes you run across a rare fish, you know, and you say, there ain't a lot of fish like this in the sea. I think I want to stick with this fish, right? So I personally think that there's a lot to be said about making your own decision and not letting society kind of guide you in any direction. As you know, for example, when there were men who thought that me getting married, you know, was like a type of simping, I didn't really give a shit. I mean, whatever that, you know, to me, you're a simp if you following the crowd and doing what other men are telling you to do. That makes you the dumbass. You know, I didn't care about that. I will tell you that I am not a person who runs around here screaming that marriage is always the best choice, because some people you marry, it sucks to be married to them. They're terrible people. Why would you marry a terrible person just so you can be married? I've seen a lot of people, honestly, in my experience, it's been usually women, female friends, who will marry a terrible guy just so they can say that they're married. And that to me is just as bad as being single for life. But another mistake I've seen as well is people trying to literally marry the absolute best catch they can possibly find without considering how much that person values you. If you're with some dude or some woman where they feel like they can replace you with a phone call, or they got 10 other women just like you sitting right next to you that they can just jump to if the relationship gets hard, that person, in my view, 9 times out of 10 is not usually going to treat you as well as that guy who sees you as an absolute diamond. You know, I see my wife as a complete diamond. I saw her as a person where I said, shit, I want to be with this woman because I've lived my whole life and haven't seen a woman like this, right? And I think that at that point, the question is, how do you become a woman like this? You know, and also, how do you pick the men who see you as a woman like this? People that see value in you are going to pay a valuable price to be with you. So don't just be with somebody just because they're willing to be with you. Be with them because they want to be with you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you hear what I'm saying. So I got to run. My wife is actually coming downstairs. We're about to do something. We have an appointment, but I just wanted to share that thought. And again, shout out to Michael Baisden if he sees this video. I think Michael Baisden's a great guy. From what I know, I met him in person one time in Vegas. He went out of his way to come over and say hello. He was very, very respectful. He gave me a great hug. He seemed like a great guy, and I thought that question was worth talking about. So anyway, I got to go. Hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. Also, don't forget the All Black National Conventions at the end of October. The Dr. Alicia and I will be at the convention. So if you'd like to join us, you can actually go to allblacknationalconvention.com and get your tickets. We're actually going to do speed dating and relationship stuff at the convention, among many other things. Of course, we're going to do stocks and bonds and politics and everything else, but we're also going to do some relationship building activities as well. So if you're looking for a good person to date, this might be a great place for you. So I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. God bless you. Love you. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. I appreciate you. Peace.